You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number is 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. I am John David Wells. I want to thank you very much for joining us. By the way, Isaac, the legislature in Tennessee is controlled by Republicans. Just to build on something we were talking about when we were off the air. Okay, there are a couple of other things. There are two or three other things that I want to talk about before we get off the air today and get out of the way of Wayne Allen Root, who comes up next on most of these same USA Radio Network stations. Norah O'Donnell is going to be the next main anchor at CBS News. And there is something here that you need to be aware of because it is incredibly important that you know this. There are very few people who are able to deliver a trustworthy broadcast, a news broadcast, without point of view, said CBS News President Susan Zirinsky. That's who we want to be. I have never spent a lot of time watching the CBS Evening News. I've always been an ABC fan. Even when Walter Cronkite was the most trusted man in America, and was at the news desk of CBS News, we watched ABC News. However, Norah O'Donnell is becoming the next anchor of the brand-defining CBS Evening News. It's a very serious, big-time job. CBS News President Susan Zirinsky entered the top job at the news division with an unshakable belief that O'Donnell, an aggressive and insightful broadcaster who has an instinct for news-making interviews, was the right person for the job. And so is the second big anchor shakeup of the division. Gayle King is now the linchpin of the CBS This Morning alongside co-anchors Anthony Mason and Tony Dokoupil. Dokoupil. Can we just change his last name to Davidson or Roberts or something that's pronounceable? Thank you. So let it be written. So let it be done. There are so few women that get to speak out about the world to the world. And now you're one of those people. That's Oprah Winfrey. All right. CBS News with Norah O'Donnell offers an opportunity to remind viewers of the division's legacy. This week's broadcast will include O'Donnell's sit-down with Caroline Kennedy, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, whose company Blue Origin is working to send Americans to the moon, or people to the moon. And next Tuesday, O'Donnell will anchor the program live from the Kennedy Space Center. Okay, so what's important out of this is that I hope that Norah O'Donnell, moreover, I hope that CBS News begins to report the news without a point of view. If indeed they do that, they will have a studious and committed fan in me. The objective of news is to provide you with facts. I do everything I can to give you the news. Do I tell you what I think about it? Yes. Do I differentiate between the two things? Yes. I tell you when I'm telling you what I think. And regardless of what I think, you can always call me on the telephone and tell me that I'm full of garbage. It's okay. We've had a Democrat on the air today. We've had a couple of Republicans. No, we did, Isaac. And he listens to this broadcast because he knows he can get the facts. There's no other broadcast that does it. He's just as frustrated with leftist biased news reporting as anybody else. That's why he gets his news from here. That's why you should get your news from here. That's why everybody you know should get your news from here. But I have long concerned myself with, okay, who's going to do this job when I'm gone? Don't make no mistake. I got 10, 15 more years left in me, I think, if my mind holds out. But more power to the CBS Evening News. If they can indeed report the facts without the fancy, if they can report what's real without throwing in what's political, God bless them and God bless their endeavors. So there's that. Here's something else. Alan Turing, the World War II code breaker, has just been memorialized forever on Britain's new £50 note. Bank of England Governor Mark Carney announced today that Turing, who killed himself in 1954 after he was chemically castrated for his homosexuality, will appear on the new money note by the end of 2021. In a statement, Carney lauded the Englishman as an outstanding mathematician, a giant on whose shoulders many now stand. He is the guy who created Turing machines. We know them by a different name. We know them as computers. This guy was a genius. He worked at Bletchley Park. United Kingdom cryptologists broke Nazi war codes. The Enigma code remained a secret for decades. How he did that, how he broke the code, remained a secret for decades. But he is now credited with saving thousands of lives and hastening the end of World War II. The cruelest thing about this amazing discovery was to protect the fact that the English had broken the Enigma code. In other words, they had to make decisions about who would live and who would die based on protecting that incredibly important secret. There are a lot of things that happened in World War II that people have trouble living with. I can't imagine a more difficult circumstance than to only stop certain things that the Nazi war machine was pulling off in order to both win the war and protect that secret. I cannot imagine the calculation, the cold, cruel calculation of doing that. Unbelievable. Alan Turing. By the way, if you want to know more about that, all you have to do is see a movie called The Imitation Game. I've got the book. It's amazing. Also out of England, apparently, as reported in the London Daily Mail today, the next James Bond will be Lashana Lynch. Okay, well, actually, she's not going to be James Bond. She's going to be the next 007. Yeah, apparently, and what's going to happen is James Bond will no longer be 007. It will be Lashana Lynch, whatever her character name is. Since Daniel Craig announced he was standing down as James Bond, debate has raged whether the next 007 should be a woman or a black person. According to the London Daily Mail, she will be both, thanks to the intervention of feminist TV writer Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It's what's been called a popcorn-dropping moment, British star Lashana Lynch has said. By the way, she is gorgeous. Oh, my. She'll be given Bond's license to kill in the 25th movie of the franchise being shot currently in Italy and the United Kingdom. Traditionalists, however, can relax. She's not the new Bond, but a new character who takes over his secret agent number after Bond leaves MI6. The story begins with Bond retired in Jamaica, but Spymaster M, now played by Ralph Fiennes, calls him back in desperation to tackle a new global crisis. A movie insider said there's a pivotal scene at the start of the film where M says, "Come in, 007, and in walks Lashana, who is black, beautiful, and a woman. Bond is immediately attracted to her because there isn't a female on the planet that he's not interested in having an in-depth and important, sensitive, and feminine side contacting conversation with without any sexual overtones, whatever. Uh-huh. Question is, will she say yes? He's attracted to her. He's baffled when they don't work on a brilliant young black woman who basically rolls her eyes at him and has no interest in jumping into his Aston Martin. By the way, the phrase Bond girls will now be forbidden, saying we're all told now they're to be addressed as Bond women. I thought that's somebody that helps you get out of jail, but maybe that's because of my checkered past. Okay, I don't have a checkered past. I've never been arrested, never to be a bail person, never. Waller-Bridge, who wrote the BBC comedy Fleabag and the female-led thriller Killing Eve, was recruited to ensure the 57-year-old franchise moved with the times. She said there's been a lot of talk about whether or not Bond is relevant now because of who he is and the way he treats women. I think it's BS. I think he's absolutely relevant now. The franchise just has to grow. It's got to evolve. And the important thing is the film treats women properly. He doesn't have to. He needs to be true to his character. Are you going to watch it? See, that's the big question. Would you? Watch the film, And then there's this. These people are going to end up getting some people killed if they don't stop immediately. Let me explain what's going on. There was a Facebook page, it was a Facebook event, in fact, that invited people to sign aboard an idea to raid Area 51. Area 51, in case you don't know, is a part of the Tonopah Test Range. It is a secret military base where America's state-of-the-art aircraft and other things are tested and evaluated. It's called Groom Lake because that's the name of the dry lake that the base is built around. The reason that they build these very important research bases around dry lakes is because no matter what shape your aircraft is in, you can land on a dry lake as long as it's sometime in the summer after they actually dry out. They are usually alkali or salt or both, and they are extremely hard, and you can land on them. We landed the space shuttle in some of its first glide tests and in some of its first missions on the dry lake at Edwards Air Force Base. So 1 million people have signed up to our Facebook event, which calls on users to meet at Area 51, the U.S. Air Force Base in Nevada, and then essentially run into the base. If we Naruto run, in other words, all of us move together, arms outstretched backwards, heads forward, if they all run, we can run faster than their bullets. No, you cannot. No, you can't. There is a thing called a minigun. They used to put one on either side of a helicopter. Now they put two or more on either side of helicopters. And the way they are set up and the way they actually work, it is capable, that weapon system is capable of putting one bullet in every 6-inch square of as much property as the aircraft can fly over without running out of ammunition. Every 6-inch square. So I don't care how many people you're talking about. The use of deadly force is authorized at the Tonopah Test Range. If indeed these people want to see a deployment of American military might on the perimeter of that base, all armed, locked, and loaded with deadly force authorized, if they want to see how many of themselves they can get killed, then they certainly will. There is no way on God's earth that anybody has any business on that base except the people who actually work there. I cannot tell anybody that has any interest in this whatsoever to stand down immediately. There are a lot of people that are going out there and they're camping out. I swear, if they actually mass and they actually think that what they're going to do next is they're going to run into that range, they're living their final days. And moreover, they should be. You're listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. Back with more in just a moment on the USA Radio Network.
It is a horrible scenario, but it happens. Dennis writes about his wife. She was diagnosed with leukemia. In fact, she's a 2-time survivor, and in the midst of all that, they ran up over $1 million in medical bills. Thankfully, they're Medi-Share members, and Dennis says they are so thankful for that, how others came together to meet their needs, and that's how so many Medi-Share members feel. This is not health insurance. It's different. You don't have to pay for things you don't believe in, and like Dennis found out, it just works. So if you join Medi-Share, not only do you save a lot of money, the typical family saves about $500 a month, but you know where your money's going each month. You're helping people, and if the time should come, they'll be helping and even praying for you. So yes, it's different, and as more than 400,000 people now know when it comes to healthcare costs, different is beautiful. Find out more. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Joan London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad.
I was so glad that I called A Place for Mom. My advisor really listened and was truly my partner in finding senior care for my dad. She went out of her way to get to know him as a person and was always there whenever I had a question.
The senior living advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. And it's a free service. Here's the number.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-370-2715.
There's a place for answers, a place for mom. Call today.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-370-2715. That's 1-800-370-2715.
There's no question you need omega-3s. But which form should you take? Fish oil or krill oil? Scientists have debated this for years. Luckily, there's a new solution to satisfy everyone. It's called Krill Omega 50 Plus. It combines ultra-pure fish oil and joint-soothing krill oil together in just one tiny pill. It's so powerful, it can promote the health of your heart and your arteries. And if that wasn't enough, it can also boost your joint comfort in just days. We're so sure Krill Omega 50 Plus will work for you. We'll even send you a free bottle to put to the test. The debate is over. It's not fish oil or krill oil. It's both. And now it's free. Just pay $4.95 for shipping and claim your free bottle. Call now. 1-800-399-6392. 1-800-399-6392. That's 1-800-399-6392.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. Jeff Stein, writing in the Washington Post, has suggested that a 4-day work week should be brought to the United States of America. In Belgium, there is a nonprofit organization called FEMA. It decided quickly, they went to a 4-day work week. They decided quickly, the people that worked there decided quickly how to spend their new time. One took up Spanish classes, another studied flamenco dancing. A senior manager revived her interests in arts and crafts. 4 years ago, the feminist advocacy organization polled its 60,000 female members on their biggest frustrations. The results were remarkably consistent. Regardless of age, the women wanted more free time. Between work and their disproportionate share of household and child care responsibilities, the women reported having little time for themselves. So as a one-year experiment beginning in January, FEMA implemented a 30-hour work week for its approximately 60-person staff, which effectively means most take Fridays off. The employees are being closely followed through December by Free University of Brussels researchers who are studying the impact of more leisure time on the women and their children. Does that seem sexist to you? It seems sexist to me. Okay. Now, I'm trying to figure out the following. So, women are upset about the fact that they don't make as much money as men do. There are a lot of different reasons why that's the case. One of them is that women, many women, a majority I would suspect, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but a majority of women at some point or another decide that what they want to do more than work in a corporate environment is to have children. The biological clock ticks so loudly that's that. And I'm not trying to be sexist here. I'm just pointing this out. Meanwhile, the typical human model, certainly the typical American model, is that men go out, or at least until 1973, men go out and earn the lion's share of the salary, etc., the salary necessary to run a family. Mom stays home with the kids. Dad goes out and works. Now, I don't know where that stands. It may be hopelessly and foolishly old-fashioned, but what I did get to see through the 90s and the early 2000s was an entire generation of children being raised by daycare workers for $9 or $10 an hour. And oh by the way, we got millennials out of that generation. Millennials are typically independent. So independent, in fact, that you could say they are argumentative. They are certainly not necessarily, as genteel or mannerly as their forebears. They'll look you right in the face and tell you that you're full of some sort of ignoble substance whenever they feel like it. While part of that's refreshing from an honesty standpoint, I'm wondering if that is not a direct result of people not necessarily caring too much about whether the kids learn the things that we would call manners in daycares around the nation. As far as the 40-hour work week, I think that's where they made their mistake. It's one thing to be able to do a 30-hour work week in Belgium, okay, because Belgium really doesn't have any responsibilities on the world stage. They're a member of NATO, but that's just about it. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to work, and radio, you really can't do this. I'd like to be able to work 4 10-hour days. I'd love to do that. I'd love to be able to do that. Love to have James Parker come in and fill in on Fridays and so on. I think that would be a wonderful thing. But at the end of all of that, I'd really like to see whether or not you're interested in a 4-day work week. So are you, punk? The executive producer of the Wells Report is Philip Brown. Our associate producer is Ian Lucas. My name is John David Wells. Special thanks today to James Richard Fisher, dear friend of mine who sat in and helped us out today on the Wells Report. Coming up next, Wayne Allen Root. War Now on most of these same USA Radio Network stations. Until tomorrow, thank you very much. You have been listening to the Wells Report.
Hi, Hi, this is Wayne Alaruth, the capitalist evangelist. I'm here to introduce you to a special company with the potential to be one of the great all-American stories. Fortum Resources is a publicly traded, diversified natural resource company with oil, gas, and mining properties in North America and internationally. Fortum is led by Chairman Mark Brunner, the legendary oil man who built Ultra Petroleum from a 15-cent stock to $200 per share, creating $15 billion in shareholder profits. Mark has 30 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, overseeing contracts with Halliburton, ExxonMobil, and Hess. Fortum has over 350,000 acres of oil and gas resources, and more than half the acreage has been evaluated by world-renowned auditors Deloitte Touche. Fortum also owns the rights to the 180 square mile City of Gold mining property. Fortum is traded on 2 global exchanges, U.S. ticker symbol FTMR. Repeat, FTMR. This is a rare ground floor opportunity to capitalize on a proven energy industry legend. Please visit FortumResources.com. That's Fortum, F-O-R-T-E-M, resources.com.